Yeah, a lot of entrepreneurs say that restaurant is a loser's business. They say that you can't really make money in restaurant. It's extremely tough. The margins are small. What do you say from based on your experience?
Well, like I said, it's a calling, you see. Not everyone can just hop in and do it. Actually, a lot of people that are in the industry right now, I don't think they should be in the industry because, sometimes they're the ones who be doing all kinds of things that make it look like it's a bad space.
Yeah. Tell me more. Tell me more about the dojo and how you run it as a business.
Oh, yes. You see, I've traveled. I stayed in China. I did my martial arts there for a year. I also went to Thailand to do Muay Thai.
Also in Norway, isn't it?
Also in Norway, I did some time there training martial arts. So the plan is to relive this experience here in Botswana and to give Botswana that experience of daily training. And we're not training so that we can beat people up at the streets. No. This is actually it's therapy. It's therapy for people who want to take out all kinds of, stresses. It's also one way of keeping fit in life.
This is Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. We enthuse, we energize, we inspire, and we empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes in BW and beyond.
Dumela, hello, welcome to yet another episode of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. This is a very special one. I'm so excited. You'll find out in a moment. But before I get into the podcast, please do the honorable thing. Strike that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and make sure that you are part of what we're about. I discovered with some tinge of sadness that only 33% of you who view us regularly have subscribed. So I'm talking to the 66%. Please, guys, just subscribe. If you subscribe, I'll be able to bring the best, the cream de la cream. I'll bring the best and the brightest in the country to come and be interviewed, and I'll give you an opportunity to actually empower you by you selecting the people to be interviewed. Having said that, a little housekeeping. There's a book. It's called Nuggets of Grit. It's a bestseller, and you can even make it more so by just grabbing yourself a copy, $350. And I open up, I share my whole story, and the feedback I've been getting is that it's highly informative and inspirational, and it's benefited a few people. I trust that was the intention. I trust it will you too. Let me welcome this special guest. His name is Sekgele Mogobe. I know him so well because he happens to be my son, and it's going to be a little awkward, but in a good way. From it's first time I'm interviewing one of my sons on the podcast, and let me welcome you to the studio, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, sir.
How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I'm excited.
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah.
It's good, yeah.
All right. Let's just get the ball rolling by you introducing yourself, your background, educationally, academics, and otherwise.
I'm delighted. Ke bidwa Sekgele Mogobe, ke mosimane wa ko Kanye, ko khotleng ya Modukanele, ko khotleng ya Modukanele ko Mongala. Tota I'm a young man. Not aspiring anymore. Right now, I'm actually an entrepreneur now. I used to introduce myself as an aspiring, but now I'm an actual entrepreneur now. Basically, a graduate of entrepreneurship development and enterprise development from the University of Botswana. I have also done business management at ISBS College. And I'm also the general manager of a restaurant downstairs of this building that we're at right now called the Pond Resturant. And I'm also running a few businesses right now. I'm running a car wash called Tech Carwash. Yes, sir. Basically, that's what's going on.
Okay. Sounds like an exciting background. Let's start with the education in terms of where you believe you derive the biggest benefit to become an entrepreneur.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, I started off just as any other kid in Gaborone at preschool, Hulala preschool, before primary school. Hulala is in town. I did a few years there, and I started my reception at Baobab School. Baobab, I was there for about 7 years doing my primary school. It was a pretty nice time. We did a few business related ideas that we used to share in class. Just basically just growing up as a kid in Gaborone, you'd see a lot of things. But basically also at that point, my grandma was also in business at the time. She was running a few businesses. So I think that's where I might have actually seen a few things happening behind the scenes. And also there's a lady, Mama, who used to help us at Kanye, where I grew up with my grandma. She'd also be selling knickknacks and she'd be selling sweets and stuff. So I'd always just wonder how she'd do. She'd always be raising money. She'd be raising funds. So I'd always be interested in that kind of thing. And then after that, I went to Lerai Academy. I did Form 1 there. And then I transferred into Lusaka, Zambia, a school called Refidem Institute. Refidem Institute is a Seventh-day Adventist school based in Lusaka, Zambia. It's a boarding school, both male and female. So there, it was there from grade 9 until grade 11. They say grades there, they call them grades there. But basically, Form 2 or Form 4, it was a program where Cambridge, so I was able to finish a year before most places. So I was there for 3 years. I learned a lot of, I saw a lot of things there. It was actually an opportunity for me to explore the world as a young chap. I saw a lot of people, struggling. I wouldn't say really, just really trying to do their best, especially times when I go to the school because it was out of town. So you'd always see people just hustling and bustling. Totally different environment from where Botswana is more, people are just more relaxed and stuff like that. So my eyes really opened up when I got there. And then I finished at the Refidem with flying colors. I topped the school at that point.
Wow, that was an impressive moment.
Yeah.
You topped the school or you topped Zambia, something like that.
I topped the school. In fact, that was a record. I broke the record for the school. It was just flying straight A's throughout. So when I got back, I went to do Form 6 because I had a lot of options, because I thought that maybe I could delve into sciences. So I did Form 6 at the Lerai Academy for a few. But then when they started getting into the equations and the mathematics and everything, I thought that I knew it all, but I really didn't know that much. So I just thought, hey, man, this is a lot. Let me just go try it out, something else.
So you quit A-levels?
I quit A-levels because I was deciding to change course completely. Because I was doing sciences. I was doing chemistry. I was doing advanced maths because I was able to qualify for those things, you see. But then I realized, it's not the way it wasn't really what I wanted. And then after that, really, I went into my first decision. What do they say? The first option. Could you be? I get the option 3. I choose entrepreneurship. Business administration. I went into that one. My second option was law for obvious reasons because of the background that I was in. And I don't know if anybody ever remembers
the background you were
option.
in. You mean having
being a father, having a father who's a lawyer in a law firm, and always just going to the law firm after school as a kid growing up. So I thought I knew a little bit. So hey, who knows? I could go into that. I don't even remember what the third option was, but then I got into business. They accepted me, and then the good thing is when I was doing first year, I was also part of, just learning, getting mentorship from you, getting mentorship mostly from the people you'd meet up, because at that time we're doing development of this building, Mogobe Plaza. So there was a huge project going on. So I was always interested in getting to know what's going on. I was always involved in the construction from the very beginning, from the time it was a pit. So I'd actually see firsthand how business was done. And, I was a complete know-it-all. I thought I was a know-it-all at that time. So first year,
you thought you had a know-it-all, or you just confident?
Well, I thought I was a know-it-all because I thought that seeing it was the way, was believing it, because I was exposed at a younger age to these things because I was working hand in hand with you. And
I used to drag you to meetings, eh?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not so keen.
Sometimes I'll admit. But I'd come through. It was a huge benefit for me, and I'd go to class and I'd actually share some of my experiences and some of the theoretical stuff that I'd learned. I'd feel like it's too theoretical. I felt like it's not really the case. So I'd always be challenging my lecturers. I'd always be telling them, no, that's not how it is really. And then they felt like maybe sometimes I was a bit much. And
But
also,
because you had seen the practical side.
I'd see the practical side, and I was also just a developing young man with a lot of just, things going on in my life. So I just was learning a lot. But at that time, I thought I knew it all. But in life, you learn a lot of things as you go. And you actually learn that you don't know anything as you keep going. So as
sounds like something Socrates would say.
Yeah,
The one thing you know for sure is that you know nothing.
you know nothing. Exactly. So the clashes were a bit much, and I felt like also at that point I wasn't really serious with school. So I had left school for about a year, about 2 years actually, when I was basically just coming to site, working it up as a construction as a contractor. I'd wear my overalls and stuff, just to get the works, you see. And then after some time,
But of course, I wasn't interested in the idea of you quitting school. You remember?
of course not. You did always say that I should always finish what I started.
Yeah.
And that was always the plan. So I did have that in mind, what I thought I have to finish school. But also at the same time, there was a time when I was also doing a lot of introspection in my life, a lot of self-development in my life, because I was also getting exposed to this kind of life. Because as an entrepreneur, you have to learn a lot. You need to learn
let me
from
interject
others
there
and
when you
stuff
talk
like
of
that.
introspection.
Yes,
Let
sir.
me interject to ask about your interest in martial arts,
Yes.
because that had at some point became a significant part of your life.
You know me. Actually, during the time when I wasn't at UB or when I wasn't working, I would train martial arts. Basically, I started off as just doing these small little forms,
You started with Uncle Soccer, Murakom, remember?
Of course, in primary, of course. And everything starts as a young kid.
Because that's where
That's
your
where it
mother
all
and I
started.
used to take you, especially your mother.
Especially, yeah. So it was basically because I was sometimes I was a naughty kid sometimes. So my mom felt like I could just need a little bit of, the way I'd see it, I just felt like you get a beating once in a while, you see. So the karate would teach you that no, it's perfectly fine. You can get beaten all the time. It's just a matter of you just getting up,
And
dusting
moving
yourself up and just becoming stronger. And also it taught me a lot of discipline. So when I wasn't at school, when I wasn't working, I'd do a lot of martial arts. We had a team of guys. One of my first masters or teachers, a guy named Ivan. He used to teach me a lot of these forms, just basic self-defense, like basically how to keep your guards up, how to attack, how to defend, just the basics.
What type of martial arts?
Okay, Kung Fu was the one would mainly do. He was mainly a Shaolin guy, but he taught me a form called Wing Chun. Wing Chun is something that Bruce Lee made popular with his master called Ip Man. Ip Man is some dude who lived in the 1900s.
Ip Man.
IP Man.
IP Man.
Ip Man.
Ip Man.
Ip Man, yeah, he's just a legend basically. He taught Bruce Lee some of the things that he knows now, or that he knew then, and he was basically he was a big influence and the basic forms. But in Botswana you don't really get to see the whole thing, especially if there are no programs. Botswana is still a developing nation, I'd like to say. So the interest that I had even drove me to follow and see how further I can take my Kung Fu and my martial arts, you see. Luckily, you actually had a friend who's a good friend of our family, Let's Sitole. He had been to a place in China called Kunyu Mountains in Yantai. Basically, the guys there, they train martial arts all day, all night, all season, all year. So you go there and you just start learning all kinds of crazy techniques. And I was very interested because he had spent some time there, and he's the one who actually advised me to go there, to go and check it out. He told you about it as well. And we decided that we'd do it. And I went there for a year, spent an entire year there throughout the 4 seasons there, training every single day, learning discipline.
What was the training involved actually? What did the training entail?
Oh yeah. Basically, they just it was a big routine, It was a routine like basically the masters would always teach you to master the basics. That way you could be able to learn and advance. It would be much easier for you to advance. So they were concentrating on the basics. So every morning it was more of a military, basically martial arts. The word martial means military.
Yeah.
And arts is just basically arts. style
Yeah.
style sa thing.
When you say that, there's a famous saying by Bruce Lee where he says, "I don't fear a man who knows 10,000 ways to attack, but I fear a man who
practices
has
10,000 kicks.
10,000 kicks."
Who practices one kick 10,000 times.
Yes. What do you think of that saying? It's quite famous.
The truth. It's the truth. That's the Chinese way of doing things, and that's the best way you can actually learn how to do something. You know, repetition is the best way. Trust me. You don't have to be a genius. You can do it 100 times, 1,000 times. It will just get into your system.
Yeah.
So in China, they'll teach us basically what they taught me. I was advancing my Wing Chun. They basically, when I got there, they told me, forget about everything that you think you know. When you come here, you're basically a little baby, from the beginning. So Shifu, my master Go, he's about 50 years old. He's been doing it for about 30 years. Grandmaster Go taught me my Wing Chun. He taught me my Tai Chi. He taught me my Baji. These are basically internal martial arts. They call them internal martial arts because you get your energy from inside.
What do those entail? Those things you're mentioning.
A lot of meditation, a lot of practice, a lot of conditioning, more repetition. You know what I mean? For instance, Wing Chun was developed by a lady. For most people who don't know, a lady who was basically in a time where China was, people were just beating each other up with martial arts.
Yeah.
So the ladies were trying to figure out they can't really go with the brutal force. They would basically work with counters. Basically, they would
Counters being
counterattacks.
Counterattacks.
So let's say you want to hit somebody, they'll basically find a way of just pulling you in and versing.
Yeah.
You see, so that's how it
pushing back the same energy.
Yeah. Same as Tai Chi. Tai Chi, basically, you take the energy of your opposer and you just bring it back tenfold. You see. And it's more internal. You really got to do a lot of meditation, a lot of forms for you to really get that energy up, you see. And then Baji is also an internal martial arts. It's basically an ancient martial arts. It was used by the emperors back then. The bodyguards of the emperor. They were taught this art. Just basically, they would hit you with the maybe a fist that would cause so much damage, maybe like internal bleeding, and then you probably feel that in after a week or two. So these kind of techniques our Shifu would be able to teach us. You just go there and he just shows them to you.
So that means you can cause someone to become unalive. You can unalive a person.
Yes, Shifu's taught me a couple of things, but he's always taught us to use it under circumstances.
So maybe you should register your hands as lethal weapons.
I should.
Yeah.
I should, definitely.
Yeah. I'll tell you why I'm joking about this, because when you came back,
yes,
and we are just opening your bags at home, we just saw a whole bunch of gold medals and accolades and medals. And I knew that you were practicing, but I didn't know you went to the point where you're winning gold medals and beating up people. Tell me about that experience.
Oh, yes, I was competing at the time, you see. The good thing about learning is you can actually go and test what you've learned. And then our Shifu, after some months of training, I did a few forms because something called kickboxing in China, they call it Sanda in China, where you can do it competitively. So I went to China and I did Sanda there, where it's kickboxing and you do it competitively. So I did a few competitions. I have 4 gold, I have 2
gold
bronze
medals.
Yes, and I have 1 silver medal from competing in martial arts. Your Nebo Sanda.
Does that mean you're knocking people out cold?
To get gold, I knocked out a few people. Yeah. But to get gold is basically point system. So you got to get more points, more takedowns, more, just it's a point system. But knockout is automatic win. So I got 2 golds in Hong Kong from a knockout one time.
Ish.
Yeah.
Is it similar to MMA?
Kickboxing, MMA, similar, but there's no grappling. There's no elbows, no knees. It's more of just punches and kicks.
How do you think your martial arts contributed to your entrepreneurial endeavors or entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, yeah. It's interesting because you don't just wake up and say you're going to fight. You have to prepare yourself. You have to train constantly, even if you don't feel like it, even if you even if you're sad, even if you're happy, even if you broke up with someone, even if, somebody died at home, you have to wake up and go and practice and train. So it's the same in business. You got good days, you've got bad days, but you got to wake up and go and get it. You got to practice, you got to hit the bag, you got to make sure that everything that needs to be done is done. And at the end of the day, after all that practice, and then you look back and you say, all that hard work, all that pain has actually led to something, victory, the gold medal, that kind of thing. So it's like goal setting. It also helps you with goal setting. It helps you with discipline if you have a goal. It helps you also just to wake up and get it, because not all the time you win. You get knocked out sometimes.
Yeah.
So not all the time you win. So it's like business. You get ate, sometimes you eat. So I learned a lot in that field, And there's always somebody who's practicing more than you. So if you think you're going hard, just know there's someone going harder. So you go harder. Yeah.
So how do you apply that to business? Let's now move to the business area you are most active in, which is the restaurant business.
Oh yes, the restaurant business is very interesting because it's whole martial arts on its own. I'd like to say, because business is martial arts, if you ask me. In the restaurant business, it's not for everybody. There's a lot of people who desire to open restaurant. It's the dream of many to have an open restaurant that's running, and it's achieved by very few. It's not an easy job, but the key is to have systems. The key is to have experience. The key is to wake up and go and get it every single day, no matter how discouraged you might be, because the restaurant business is.
Incidentally, let's go back a little bit and tell us how you got into it. How did it all start for you now to be in the restaurant business?
Oh, okay. So as a business student, I've always learned a lot of stuff in business, especially in the background of entrepreneurship development. And at the time also, there was another project that was going in. At the time, I was doing university where we opened 2 restaurants as Mogobe Incorporated Group. One called Black and one called Nonas. So I had so much interest, and it was sort of like a calling, because this restaurant business you don't really come to it. It kind of like fishes you out and calls you, and you just have to just step up and do it. You know what I mean? So at that point, we had 2 franchises that were running that we bought into, and I was feeling like it was the perfect opportunity for me to learn more about enterprise, more about entrepreneurship development, and I just went all in at that aspect. At the time, obviously, I was still a young kid. I didn't have any experience, so I was learning from a lot of general managers from before me, like Wisdom, Raphael. I've learned a lot from Lefa. I've learned a lot from a lot of people that have come before my time.
Those who were managing Black
that
and
were
Nonas.
managing those restaurants before I did. Right. So that's how I really got into the game, into the industry, and we also thought that it would be a lucrative business to get into. I mean, you don't just get into restaurant business just because you want the money. You need to know what you're going into. You don't just go in with your eyes closed. So we had a vision to have what we have now, the Pond Resturant, which was just basically an evolution of many years of learning and implementing what we've learned, that we've come up with a product now that we can call our own restaurant, that we've been running, and that was established on the 19th of September 2024 and is currently running, and we're looking at growth and expansion at this point.
You may be looking at opening branches in future.
Branches, chains, Yeah, the concept.
Okay. Just tell me a little bit about the franchise model, which was Black and the Nonas, and how that morphed, how that operated, before we talk about the independent model.
All right, no, that's fine. I can tell you all about it. Well, the franchise is a beautiful thing because they give you the key, they hand it over to you, and basically they've tested all the concepts, they've tested everything. If it works, they've got people that are actually, developing the products for you, and you just have to basically run it how the franchisor wants it to be run. And they've tested all of the problems. There's obviously pros and cons. So I can talk a bit about the pros. The pros, obviously, you already have the keys, the guidelines. They give you guidelines, they give you support to some extent, and then you run it as they want because they've tested this concept.
The support is in what form?
Well, they support you in terms of maybe if you're having hiccups. At the time, we really didn't know what we were doing at the time. So they'd always advise us from a standpoint of being our franchises directly from the inside. So they'll always be able to tell you what you should do and what not to do from their own experiences. So it was a good way to learn. You be in a faster way instead of, reinventing the wheel. They just show you how to do things, and you just learn and learn and learn. So that's how it was for Black, and that's how it was for Nona's. Nona's was an Italian restaurant. The concept was an Italian eat-in with a contemporary twist, obviously. We had the traditional Italian food, but also we had a few things that we put in there just to make it more modern, right? And then also Black is just a hangout place. It was stood for bistro, lounge, and cocktail kitchen.
Bistro,
lounge, and cocktail kitchen. Bistro basically is French for restaurant. Lounges you can relax. Cocktail kitchen, we serve cocktails and we serve food at our kitchen. So that was the main concept, and we ran it for about 5 years. Well, one for about one for about 5.5 years. And the cons of a franchise, obviously pros come with cons. There's obviously, to start, there's exuberant fees that you have to pay. Exorbitant fees that you pay just to get started. There's high fees that you pay just to get the franchise, and also there's these royalties that you pay almost every month. Sometimes depending on the sales, sometimes there's a percentage. So those
sometimes it's fixed.
Sometimes it's fixed.
Depends on how you structured it.
Yes, and also sometimes you don't really have full control over the establishment. Like maybe if you have a bright idea, you'd have to run it through the whole team wherever the head office might be, and it might take a long time for approval and things like that. So it would maybe stifle a bit of creativity. But if you have your own kind of thing, like I'm getting to now, we evolved into now what we call the Pond Restaurant. After getting all that experience, all that knowledge, and basically getting into the market more, we've been doing it for about 7 years. Now we have a product or an establishment which offers the products, food and beverages, called the Pond Restaurant.
Yeah.
That's
talk about the Pond. It's bringing a smile to your face.
Yeah,
you are the GM. Talk about it and tell us what sets it apart. What puts it heads and shoulders above the rest.
All right. No, what happened is the Pond basically ke Mogobe. Ka Setswana, ke ra ka Sekgowa. Mogobe ke Setswana, the Pond ke Sekgowa. It means the same thing. Basically, a body of water. It can be made artificially or it can be made naturally. Mogobe obviously is natural. The Pond is man-made. We made it ourselves.
Yeah.
So what we did is we established it at the beginning of the year last year as a family. It's more of a family concept. We have the entire family that was involved in the development of this concept. For instance, Khosiradi, my young sister, she was able to develop a logo for us from the beginning. You yourself, you came up with the concept, with the name, and we took it to heart and we really ran with it. Mom has been able to set up our accounts. She's been able to set up the customer service. She's the one who's been able to help us with things like, setting the record straight for people who, might not understand what's going on. And then she's basically the anchor of the whole.
And even in terms of the design, she was making suggestions.
She's the one who came up with suggestions as well of how we can improve the place. And also we have OT, that is my young brother. He's the chief technology officer. He's instrumental in creating our website now. He's the one who's in charge of the technology. So it's a family concept, basically, that's happening at the Pond. So the Pond Restaurant is a concept because in the restaurant game they can call what you call a restaurant a concept. So it's a concept like how they say, let me say debonaise. Debonaise is a takeaway concept or delivery concept. We're more of a fine dining, casual dining concept. So the Pond is a casual dining, fine dining concept where you can come with your friends and family and just relax, celebrate life, because our captions actually enjoy life. We want people to come and have a good time with their colleagues because we're based also in the CBD, Botswana, Gaborone. The central business district is where a lot of commerce is happening in Botswana. So we cater for the people around here by providing them facilities to have the business lunches, the business dinners, the colleagues to have the team building sessions with us. And we also have our lunches. We have dijo tsa Setswana, among other things. We really take pride.
Cuisine.
We take pride in our local traditional cuisine, being that it's a traditional. It's a local traditional.
What's so special about it?
Well, we have a lot of different kinds of things. We have a catering. We cater for people who might not be able to see that kind of offering in the CBD. You can get a taste of Botswana in CBD.
You offer Siswa.
Seswase thing, oxtail thing. We have bogobe, we have, dijo tsa Setswana tse di harologanye. We also have different
Mogobe jwale rots.
bogobe
One of
jwale
my
rots.
favorites. Yeah.
So we also cater for like people who enjoy the pizzas, the pastas. We have a bistro there. It's a grill. We have our steaks, our chickens, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we also have an offering for our people by sundowners, the people who want to go
What
home.
are sundowners?
People who maybe after work they'd like to just take it easy. We cater for them also. They can come have their dinner and their drinks, And
What do you offer corporates?
well, we have corporate packages where they can come with their teams because they usually have their calendars. We ask them to just basically share their calendars with us and we facilitate whatever it is that they want to do. For instance, they have their breakfasts, they have their lunches. Sometimes they have these campaigns that they want us to do together. So the corporates are able to come to us. It's a safe space for them to come and enjoy at the pond.
And what about takeaway?
Yes, we do have takeaway as well. We do have takeaway services. We're developing delivery services now. But at the moment, we're doing what you call to collect. You can call in and you can just come and collect. So it's a different.
Yeah, a lot of entrepreneurs say that restaurant is a loser's business. They say that you can't really make money in restaurant. It's extremely tough. The margins are small. What do you say based on your experience?
Well, like I said, it's a calling, you see. Not everyone can just hop in and do it. Actually, a lot of people that are in the industry right now, I don't think they should be in the industry because, sometimes they're the ones who be doing all kinds of things that make it look like it's a bad space. But then there are people who aren't in the industry that actually should be in the industry. So it's something that actually you wonder what it's about. It's a very strange animal. But the restaurant business, like I said, is like, it's a calling also, one. Two, it kind of like, it comes to you. You're the one who's like, you have to step up to the plate and actually do it. But I'll be honest, there's a lot of people think about the glamour and the fun because, it's a restaurant. It's, glamorous, people looking all fancy and stuff like that.
Taking
but people
taking
pictures, but people always forget. Yeah, for Instagram. But it's mostly work. 95% of it is work actually. You're there. I mean, don't take my realism for cynicism.
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm saying is
I like that.
It's
Your realism is not cynicism.
Yeah, it can get really busy. It can really get busy because you really have to have the passion for it. You really need to have a calling because there's something that we call the sickness, where you feel like, oh, maybe I can open a restaurant, and then
why do you call it a sickness?
Because after some time it goes away. But if you have a passion, if you have the passion, it sticks with you for years, and it's something that you have to have an outlook for to stick with it no matter what. Because obviously people always be thinking about the glamorous stuff, but there's the fun stuff. Because let me tell you something, as a restaurateur, you be basically you're managing the place, you're mopping floors, you're running the bar, and then mid-shift, if you have to, you're the one who's servicing the extractors, or sometimes you're the one cleaning the grill. You're doing a lot of things all at once. So you really have to have the passion for it. You really need to have the love for it. So it won't really reflect to someone who doesn't have the passion for it.
What do you say to those who say the margins are very small and the overheads are huge?
Well, it's a capitally intense business.
Capital
intensive business. Thank you. So you pump in a lot of money, hoping to get a nice margin of profit, as long as your numbers are right. But it is true. You get a small portion, but there's ways that you can actually make a profit out of it.
Some people argue that the gross profits should be in the region of 60%. Others say 30-40 is manageable.
Well, the industry practice, depending on what kind of restaurant concept it is, for us, casual dining might be about 60% gross profit before even taking out the taxes and the other expenses. Yes. So
the gross profit from the net profit, they are two different things.
They're two different things. So, but the key is to have a high gross profit, so that all those expenses can be catered for, and you still walk away with a little bit
with
of
some net.
with some net. You see. So the key is also in basically running the place, there's a lot of things that you need to know. A lot of things like service, how you need to cater for the clients. You need to know what the people need. Things like the location. You need to have a good location. You need to study your market in order for you to be able to have a successful concept. Because like I said, it's the dream of many to have a successful business, but very few achieve it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, in the restaurant.
I seem to recall that before you went headlong into the restaurant, you'd spend a lot of time doing research and studying and going to other restaurants. Tell us about the importance of that, doing that background work.
Oh yeah, well, you see, the work from the day you open the store, that's actually when the real work begins. But before that, obviously, you got to do your market research. You got to figure out what the people want. You got to figure out things like how your market responds, and obviously, you have to check for the competition. I'm always the person who's looking around, because in Botswana there's a lot of options, you see. So it's very important for you to keep an eye out and see the latest trends. You need to see how you can cater for the market and things like that. So I was always just looking out here and there, checking the ground, seeing what we could do for the people. So that's how I really am. That's how you should be as a business person.
What would you say are the biggest dangers in the business that most people overlook? What are the biggest risks and the biggest dangers in a restaurant business?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things that can go wrong in a restaurant business. You see things like mismanagement, things like, just misappropriation of funds perhaps, or basically just marketing a boku, you see, because there's a lot of offering in Botswana. So you need to make sure that as much as you have an offering, the people need to know about it. You need to make it known to the people. You have to put it out there. That way, people can come to your store. And once they come in, you need to make sure that all the service is on point. Because for a casual dining place like us, we have to cater for the people's needs, even before they even know they need it. For instance, they need a refill of tea. We need to be there to fix them up before they even ask for it. So that's the kind of things that you need to make sure are on point.
How is the importance of music and involving external DJs and performers in the success of a restaurant? Can you say something about that?
Oh, well, the restaurant's main game, obviously, is food and beverages. That is the main bread and butter for the restaurant. But the people also like to have an experience, because back in the day, a restaurant, you go to a restaurant maybe on the weekend, on a family occasion kind of thing. But even now, on a Thursday, on a Tuesday, people can still go to a restaurant just to have a meal, just because they don't want to cook or something like that, or just have the experience, you see. So that way, we can be able... Sorry, what was your question?
I was asking about music.
Oh, the music. So the music caters for the experience of the person. So maybe on a Tuesday, on a Thursday, they might not want to stay home. So we cater for them in that aspect, especially for our concept at the Pond.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily work for every restaurant. Remember, there's different concepts. For instance, a takeaway joint might not have loud music. But for a lounge like us, because we have a lounge concept, we might have a bit of trendy music playing
on
with trendy
days.
DJs on certain days. Yes, that's the fact. That's a fact.
Right.
Yes.
Now, I happen to know that you have another business, a car wash business. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
How
sir.
did that one start, and what's your role in that one?
Oh yeah. Well, that's my baby. That one started off actually as a school project. It started off my final year actually at the university, because obviously as an entrepreneurship development student, you at the end goal need to have a whole enterprise fully developed. So that was what I was scratching my head at the time, trying to figure out how I'm gonna pass my exams, because a lot was on the line. So, like for instance, like other programs, you get an internship, you go find a job, and they write a nice report that you were performing well. But for me, as an entrepreneur, I had to have a business running at the end of the semester. Otherwise, it's a big F. You see. So I scratched and thought, maybe I can do catering, maybe I can wash shoes, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. But I had always had the dream of, just catering for someone's needs, just helping them out without having to reach out to them too much. And then I noticed that in the CBD, lots of people have vehicles, and they're always, not always, they're like almost dirty all the time, because, but CBD, you don't have to have a dirty car. So I'd literally go out there in the streets and literally wash the cars myself and just make sure that people are happy, and they'd obviously pay me for that service. And then it just started off, and as kind of like that, and a buddy of mine called Tsepang, who helped me out, started off. He was there, he was my right hand man, my left hand, and we used to work together all the time to make sure that cars were clean, spotless. So it was actually a profitable business because, you know, there's a need and we're catering for the need, and it's there every day. And I'd like to recommend for any upcoming
What's it called and how is it set up? What are the services you offer?
Oh yes, it's called Tech Carwash, located in the CBD Mogobe Plaza. It is a detailing service. We have full washes, we have outside washes, we have inside washes, we have full valet where we wash your seats, we can do your rims, we can do your tires. So we have a ranging price of about $60 going upwards. And we can even do your paint. We can even do all kinds of stuff. We have a whole team.
Paint?
Yeah, we shine your paint. It's called
Valet.
No, it's not called valet. It's called polishing. Yeah, we polish your paint.
Okay.
Yeah, to make it look squeaky clean. Okay. So it's been running for about 4 years now since I've graduated, and the plan for it is for expansion, really, because I can't really run it from one place. There's so many other people who like to have our services that we want to cater for. So that is the plan for Tech Carwash.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is it? Are there any special challenges associated with the car wash business?
Oh well, I learned a lot because, you know, in a car wash business, you gotta, you know, think on your feet. You know, your customers are not always happy. The thing is that I learned customer service from there, because you won't get the money that you want if the car's not fully done, if the goods are not delivered. Donald Trump likes to say, "Where are the goods? Deliver the goods." So I learned how to deliver the goods through that, and yeah, it's a good experience. I learned a lot from just doing that.
So you're not going to mention what the challenges are?
Well, challenges are, you know, in the beginning, I remember people were just not so happy of the way I'd wash the car. So I learned ways to, you know, make it perfect, make it better, get the right equipment, and, you know, just improve the thing. But, you know, it's not really a tough business. It's something that you just take the customer's feedback and work on it. Yeah, basic challenges, not much really.
Okay. So your plan is to open more branches?
The plan is to have more than one car wash, and not just in Gaborone, not just in Botswana. Multiple countries, yeah. Yes, sir.
And those plans are underway?
Those plans are underway. Right now, we're looking at opening a second branch this year, 2025. That is the plan. So it's one step at a time, Mr. Mogobe.
Okay, all right. Let's go back to martial arts.
Yes.
The idea of a dojo. Yeah. You seem to be toying with that idea. I happen to know because I'm in a privileged position.
You know.
Yeah. Tell me more. Tell me more about the dojo and how you run it as a business.
Oh yes. You see, I've traveled. I stayed in China. I did my martial arts there for a year. I also went to Thailand to do Muay Thai.
Also in Norway, isn't it?
Also in Norway, I did some time there training martial arts. So the plan is to relive this experience here in Botswana and to give Botswana that experience of daily training. And we're not training so that we can beat people up at the streets. No. This is actually it's therapy. It's therapy for people who want to take out all kinds of, you know, stresses. It's also one way of keeping fit in life. You know, you get all your body parts get so fit, and you also get something called hand-to-eye coordination. Not just in a fight do you need that. Just even when you're driving, even when you're walking, you know, you learn a lot. You exercise your brain muscles as well. So the plan is for us to have a dojo or a martial arts facility, an MMA gym here in Botswana, the first of its kind. We've never had anything. Yes, here in Gaps. We've never had anything like that before. We've had your karate dojos. We have those. We have your dojo facility. I mean, your judo facilities. You have also places where people do their kung fu. The Chinese have their own facilities. But a mixed martial arts club and facility will be a first of its kind in Botswana. So the plan is to have it here in Gaborone, where we can cater from as young kids, young children who are still coming up, and, you know, for elderly people who are still trying to keep fit, and for anybody in between who just wants to, you know, live a good life. And we be also just not just martial arts and training, We'll be incorporating things like Qigong.
What's that?
Qigong is a meditation that my Shifu taught us in China,
Mm.
where you meditate and you make your body stronger, you
Mm.
make your cells stronger. It's a rejuvenation kind of meditation.
Technique,
It's
yeah.
a technique, it's an internal technique.
Mhm.
So we want to teach people in Botswana, because there's a lot of things like mental health issues,
Mm.
that things like meditation and
Mm.
exercise can actually be a helpful tool
Mm.
to overcome those things.
Mm.
Botswana. Yeah, that is the plan. That is really
Wow.
the plan for the gym.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, the sooner it starts, the better. So
Indeed.
please, as soon as you open it, come back to the nuggets so you can update us.
I think I'll have a whole program for the gym this time.
Yeah,
I'll make sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Business development.
Oh yeah.
That
of course.
expression. What does it got to do with you?
Oh, I call it biz dev.
Biz dev.
Biz dev, basically business development. So right after I got out of school, I graduated. I had to find something to do, and I got a job at Mogobe Incorporated as business development, because that's my background.
The head of this business.
Yes, chief business development officer at Mogobe Incorporated.
Mm.
So basically, my main mandate was to develop businesses, to develop enterprises.
Mm.
So we've successfully opened the Pond Resturant. It was one of our brainchilds that we've successfully done.
Mm.
We are now running a project, solar energy.
Mm.
We're now going solar. Mogobe Incorporated is going solar.
Mm.
So this project, we've long been having it in the pipelines, but we're finally pulling the trigger to have it started this year in January 2025.
Mm.
And what's happening is we're going to have these solar carports
Mhm.
where you have shade, solar shade.
Mhm.
Your car can park right under there, but at the same time, the sun rays are just shining onto the panels. That way we're generating energy. It's so beautiful because the building itself will be able to have sustainable energy.
Mm.
So we're going green. It's always been a dream of ours,
Mm.
and as business development has been one of our main mandates. So I'm happy to say there's some of the few things that
Because I
we've done
think,
as business development.
In full candor, in all honesty, when you first talked about this, when you were doing, I think, first or second year at UB, I was a bit dismissive and skeptical. But you are the person who brought the idea to us. What made you confident to persist with the idea until it matures into reality?
You know, the universe works in a strange way.
Mm.
You know, Mudimo also you see. So those days it was just a burning desire, but at the time you don't really have the resources. It's just an idea.
Mm.
So the thing about ideas is the more you give power to them, the more you put life into them, the more they can actually manifest. So it's always been something that I've always looked up to. There's always been projects, although in Botswana there's projects, they becoming one at a time. I was always following up those projects, learning about those projects, seeing how they benefit the people who actually go into those projects. And there's been initiatives in Botswana where some people, international people, come to Botswana and they have interest in the sunshine in Botswana. I've always felt like we have unlimited energy that we can harness and we can profit from as Botswana. And the beautiful thing is it's from God. It's like a gift from God.
Yeah.
So you can't really say that okay, you see. Yeah. So I just really held on to that idea. And then we've met all kinds of players in the
kept
industry.
bringing it up, yeah.
Yes, so it always has to be there. I've traveled the world. I've seen it places where it actually works. For instance, in Norway, in a first world country, it's working so well for them.
And they don't have as much sunshine as us.
And they're living in a cold country most of the time. So it's very interesting because we have more sunshine, more. I'd like to think so we finally reached that stage where now we're going solar as well. So you just really got to hang on to the idea. That's how I held on.
And you said you can do it profitably and make money out of it.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Well, basically, the main challenge is to get the whole startup set up. That's the main cost. But after that, you'd basically be running for free because all the energy you're generating will be able to be used and you're getting it from a source that doesn't diminish. So that's the way you can make it profitable. And at the same time, so much energy that's coming in, it produces excess energy.
So you reduce the charges you're paying to the main supplier, the grid.
Yes.
And you're also able to sell
you're also
to
able to
BPC and-
supply the excess energy that you're gaining from the sun through the infrastructure that we'll be having. The batteries that will be storing energy will be able to give out energy to the neighborhood. So it's a good initiative. A lot of people have been talking about it, and we're finally getting into it now.
Yeah. Do you see it becoming a common thing in Botswana? And what are the prospects of finding all the buildings in the CBD being energy efficient like that?
Well, I think, like it or not, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen because we've got investors coming from all over the world coming in. So I'd just like to say to Botswana out there, we should get into it while it's still a ripening market. Because look, it's the sun. It's never ending.
Yeah.
You see.
But don't you really have to have a lot of inside research and knowledge to set it up properly?
100%.
Didn't you have to spend a lot of time there?
100%. You see, we started thinking about these things in 2012, almost 12 years ago, 13 years ago. So it's taken that long. You
To
don't
start
just hop
implementing
in
now,
because
yeah.
there's a lot of fly-by-night guys. There's a lot of middlemen who just come and complicate things for you. So all these things we overcame. And also it takes a lot of time to raise funds to get these things because it's expensive material, expensive equipment. So yeah, that's how it is.
Okay.
Now,
Now, after you mention all these businesses, one might ask about your business philosophy and your leadership style to find out how you are able to juggle all this and manage all this. What would you say?
Oh yeah. Well, I started learning about leadership styles in primary. It's a good thing our teachers started teaching us that stuff. But as you know, there are different kinds of leaders. There's the dictator or authoritarian kind of leader who says, do this, and if you don't do it, it's over for you.
Yeah.
And then there's the super chilled leaders who just, they give you a goal, and then
They encourage you
they encourage you to do it. If you climb a wall, if you dig a pit, it doesn't matter. You just got to get to this goal.
Yeah.
And then there's the one who's in between who kind of like puts both of them together. And that kind of works for me because I'm like, I wouldn't say authoritarian because it doesn't really work for me. I'm just a chilled guy.
Yeah.
And then there's the super relaxed leader who kind of lets things just run on their own. But in an environment like Botswana, I wouldn't advise that kind of style
Chilled,
of leadership because you really got to be on top of things, especially as a business person. You have to be on top of things. I'll just tell you that. So this leadership style that I've adopted is what they call laissez-faire. It's a French term. Don't know what it means, but I know what it means.
It means laid back.
Laid back. Thank you, laid back. So I like to take the laissez-faire approach, but with a bit of a, leadership style. The thing about the restaurant business is that different times where you have to exercise both actually. Where not just in the restaurant business, even in just the
In
leader,
any business.
in any business where
There are times when enough is enough.
where enough is enough. You either be the one who's in front and leading your team, or there are times where you
At the
send
back
your
pushing them
and you're
forward.
sending your people up forward. So I've learned a lot, especially from yourself, Mr. Mogobe, from
Thank
even
you.
the other people you've interviewed, the people we've interacted from. They have different styles of leadership. So I'm like a sponge, I'm learning more on how I can make it work.
Okay. Have you encountered any setbacks or any massive challenges that really set you back? And if so, are you willing to share?
Oh yeah. In life, life is a funny thing because you can't just be up. You know what I mean? It's always like it's an up and down kind of thing. It's like guitar string. Life is like a guitar. It's like
How so?
you're like the strings. They pull you up and down sometimes.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
up and down.
Yeah.
So I've had my highs and I've had my lows. During the time when I was still a young teen, we had an experience where there was a huge pandemic, a drug pandemic in Botswana. And it affected a lot of our youth, and I've had a lot of friends that I've lost to just drugs and just the negative effects of drugs. And I was also in that kind of dark place. But I overcame that through the things that I'm talking about, like martial arts, things like business, and my family just having a support. But there were dark times, without the help of the people around me, I might have made it, you know.
So martial arts, family, and
Business.
in business.
And just keeping busy.
Yeah.
And meditating also.
Yeah.
Because martial arts, you can they say you can be it's good to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
You have to break that down for me. That is too that's too deep.
Okay, basically it's just the saying that rather just train and know how to, handle tough times. But then it doesn't mean that times are tough. You can just be in a garden. You can be a warrior in a garden. But it's different if you're a gardener. All you can do is till the soil and snip the flowers. But it's a time of war. You're the first person to get aid. So you'd rather be a warrior in a garden and still in times of war you can
Than
be
a gardener in a war.
Than a gardener in a war. Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting philosophy.
Yeah,
In terms of role models or people you look up to in business and in life, who do you want to give your flowers to?
Oh, well, I couldn't have done it without you, Dad. Well, I'd like to say you've taught me a lot in business, and in just life, because there's a lot of elders there as well. So you've also exposed me to that kind of thing. So in business, we kind of take those principles and add them to business. And it kind of gels so well. And it works for me. In fact, I wish I could teach other business people out there. Elon Musk, it could be so powerful. It could be a powerful addition
To what they have.
But thank you very much, son. But apart from that, even the people that you interview, they're really
You mean on the
powerful.
Nuggets?
On the Nuggets.
You watched the Nuggets?
I watched the Nuggets. From the inception. I remember there's a lot of people that I'd say I enjoy. Borra Sisinyi, Borra Seatla Ratsosa, among others. Those are some really powerful people. Let's Nelson, let's say.
I've introduced you to some of my own mentors.
Yes,
Yeah,
even
mine
your
is
own. I've learned from Mr. Mooney. He said he's been in business since he was like 11.
Yes.
And from the day he met me, I started maybe when I was 16, 17. He always says, I beat you by 5 years.
Yeah.
So he's like, he's one of my role models, started early. So it's a good thing because I know the sooner you start, the better. And just hold on. You end up becoming like a man like him, you see.
Yeah.
And then also, apart from just in Botswana, I look up to people like, people who fought for the struggle of black people. People like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, those people who actually didn't have, they had a bigger cause than themselves. They actually put their lives on the line for black people to be where they are now. So,
Okay. Yeah. But as a business person, you are nothing without marketing and you're nothing without a marketing strategy. This is something that I've talked about, that I preach about a lot. Have you developed your own marketing strategy? Say, are you willing to share?
Sure. Marketing, they say, is, the people who go to school for marketing, they have their own doctorate, the master, wing. Now I just have my business development and entrepreneurship development degree. And I have a business that I'm running, and I know what my business needs for it to run. So I have a team of people that we work with that ensure that we look at the market, what the market wants. It's good to have a product, but if the market doesn't want it, there's no use, you see. So you really got to tap into the market and really cater for what the people want. So your ear has to really be out there. You have to really go.
You need to have your ear to the ground.
Your ear to the ground. You really gotta hear what the people are saying and act on those things. Of course, you can't really make everybody happy. I've heard of some absurd requests, which I won't say. Sorry, it's not absurd.
Yeah.
It's just the requests. But you have to try your best, really, to do those things. Yeah.
But how do you marketing? What does your team do in terms of practically?
Oh yeah, practically, basically, we have a team where nowadays there's digital marketing where you have to really call the people to action with your flyers, with your designs, with your content creation. So we're really big on content creation because we have a product. We like to consider ourselves manufacturers. You see, the food is our product and the client is our customer. And we're manufacturing raw materials. We're killing in a final product. So we manufacture, we have the whole process where we show people that this is the way things are done. That way it interests people to see, okay.
So you show what's happening behind the scenes.
We show them, we call them to action. People come and see our offering. We show them exactly what it is. We show them the value that it would have for them. If they come to us, we actually give them the full experience and want to meet the expectations and to surpass the expectations.
Okay.
So we use digital marketing. Apart from digital marketing, we have word of mouth, traditional marketing that we use, where we actually tell the people around the CBD, around Gaborone, our offering. We have these brochures that we actually distribute. We have people that we tell daily about our offering. When they come in, we invite them to come again. And other channels of marketing.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's good.
We have a powerful team that really assists us.
And coming to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom is part of that, isn't
Mogobe Nuggets, you see this program that we're in.
Yeah.
Marketing.
Yes.
Techniques.
Okay.
Strategies, yeah.
It doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop.
Okay. All right. Now I want us to touch on your. I'd like to call them Sekgelesms. Your ideas and your concepts, things that you can share with maybe older people like myself in terms of ideas. So what are your Sekgelesms, your ideas or snippets of ideas that you want to share with others out there?
Oh yeah, thank you. Sekgelesms, again. So Bambidza Ratanang is my middle name.
Yeah.
So Ratanang whatever, love each other, basically love one another. So I like to spread love, spread love, just love. That's all I can really say. My main thing is you can't really return a hateful act with hate, because violence can only beget violence.
Yes.
But you can return hate with love. That way even the haters just like, what? Just like, what? This guy.
Yeah.
So I like to just spread love, make sure there's a lot of positive energy. You gotta always be positive. You always gotta inject positivity into everything you do, even if it's a terrible thing, even if you're doing the most awkward job. Just give it a little bit of positivity. It can change a lot. And then also I like to give a lot of respect. Even no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, it's all about respect. So you gotta show respect to get respect. That's what I really base my stuff on. And also love God. My mom has always taught me to love God. God has been a person who's showed me a lot of things in my life. I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for God. So the isms that me the ism let's Jesu, let's Mudimo, let's Buddha, let's Mang. That's what I'd like to just share out.
Wow,
people.
That's pretty powerful. That's pretty impressive.
Thank you, sir.
Now, as a business development expert, what business ideas are out there in terms of forthcoming developments that are cooking? You mentioned obviously the solar, and you mentioned also the dojo.
Yes.
What else is cooking that you are prepared to share? Unless you are one of those people that if you share, you are jinxing your ideas.
Never that. I like to believe that when you say something, you're putting life into it. The more you put life into it, the more it manifests, right?
Okay.
So I'll be happy to share.
Okay.
So apart from just solar energy, we are looking into artificial intelligence as a whole, as a company. We're looking at ways as to how we can improve our whole organization through artificial intelligence, our databases, the things we do, our operations, marketing, just all those things. We're looking at implementing them in Mogobe Incorporated. And then apart from that, we have future developments, because the main game of our company is acquisitions and developments of property. We develop property. So the next couple of years, we're looking at developing more, getting more developments, more acquisitions. For instance, we have one in the pipeline in Kanye, right in my home village, right from the Kotla that I just mentioned in the beginning. We're having a multi-residential development coming up for the people to come to cater for them there. Another residential or multi-residential project also in the pipeline. in Extension 12, not far from UB.
Extension 10.
Extension 10, not far from UB. We'll be doing a multi-residential, and there's possibly a place where the Pond Part 2, 2.0 might be. And we also have the CBD, the big one here. The next 10, 20 years, we're looking at having a tall story building here in the CBD next to the I Towers with all kinds of offerings. Really. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's business development for you. Do you want to maybe advise one or two entrepreneurs, your age mates out there, in terms of not necessarily forewarning them, but they're telling them, guys, this is the sort of thing you have to watch out for, and this is the sort of thing you have to do in order to succeed in business?
Exactly. Thank you for that opportunity, As an entrepreneur, I'd like to just say that it's not really easy, you see. It's just a matter of you really developing the grit, like you say, and having the passion for it. So I'd like to just tell young people to develop those muscles, the grit, it's a passion. You gotta really love what you're doing.
How would you develop those muscles?
Well, first of all, you gotta figure out what you love in the beginning. That way, it'll be easier for you to continue with that passion, and it becomes very easy. So it's a matter of you trying to look within, learn about yourself, learn about what it is that speaks to you. Look within, meditate, take time off, think about the things that are meaningful to you, and also think about things that can help people. Because like Jesus said that you gotta serve people. That's the best way.
The biggest leader is the one who serves the most.
So the more service that you give to people, just know what you're doing a big job.
Okay.
And also never give up. Give up. Really, times are tough. Sometimes the economy can turn. We've had times where it was even COVID, where it was looking so bleak. But
one other thing I've noticed when I see you always have books. Some of them bent over, that some underlined, some going a bit old. What is it about you and books that seem to age in your hands?
I almost forgot. Books are very important because they have a lot of knowledge, Mote. A lot of the things that you think you're having or experiencing, and you think it's a huge problem and nobody has ever gone through it before, trust me, there's nothing new under the sun. Go pick up a book and you'll see what there's someone who experienced exactly the same thing that you're going through. And the answer is so we'll be searching for these things, Mudibuki Tota. And my father always taught me to read. In fact, he taught us to read from a young age. He'd always force us, in fact, to read. So it's almost like it's part of my life now. You know what I mean? So I also learned to do audiobooks as well. There are programs where you can, while you're driving, you can listen to entire audiobooks. Programs where you can learn more about your craft. And it doesn't have to be about your craft. You can learn so much. And that's where we get books from. That's why we get books. That's why I love books.
And you've attended a few mentorship sessions, Mogobe mentorship sessions. How was that experience, and why do you think attending seminars and sessions like that helps?
Yes, well, I've done 3 real estate mentorship programs with Mogobe Incorporated. And I'm still trying to do more, because you learn more as you keep attending these things. So the real benefit of attending seminars and learning more is steel sharpens steel, or iron sharpens iron. That way you get together with people who can actually show you the way. They have similar ideas with you, and you'll be able to share and improve one another through these programs. We have books that we share, that we actually talk about, that people have been doing for so many years, that we actually learn from each other. We learn from these books, and they improve our livelihoods, they improve the way we think, and basically we have relationships with people who are like-minded with us in these mentorship programs. So it's very nice.
Speaking of books, I saw you getting a hold of this one and making it very old, and when you're having it. Yes. Any impressions, any learnings? Because I saw you reading it a lot.
Oh yeah. No, book I have my own copy signed by yourself. I love it a lot because not only am I inside, I'm on multiple pages.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah.
So I love this book. It's like the story of my dad, how he came up. It will forever be a legacy of our family, and also just a remembrance of you. And it's a really powerful book. I'm gonna just open the page. I think I'm somewhere around here. Page 323. The NOT.
Yeah, chapter 27. Yeah.
Chapter 27.
Yeah.
All right.
What's it saying about you?
No, it's just about staying healthy. This is the time I think we just came back to Botswana. Get Thailand at this time. Get training camp we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting time.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. This is a very great book.
Yeah.
Bestseller.
Thank you. It is indeed a bestseller.
Yes.
Now, as we come to the end of our conversation, Sekgele,
Yeah.
would you care to give the viewer a 5 to 10 or even 2 decade outlook? What do you foresee? What does the future hold for Sekgele Mogobe and the brand, the Pond Restaurant, as well as your role as a business development officer?
No, thank you. Thank you. 10 minutes, but I'll try my best.
No, I said 10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, but
take your time.
I'll take my time. No, well, for myself, I'm still a young man. Ke santse ke ja dingwaga tsa youth. Le ko youth ke santse ke khona go tsa YDF. So dingwaga tsa me di tloga di hela tse.
Yeah.
So obviously I have to start now. Ke ntsha outlook ya me ya the future. Obviously I'll be starting a family soon, but nothing too crazy to announce yet. At the moment, I'm also just running the businesses. I'm looking at expanding the Pond Resturant, make it a household name, and make it a chain. Make it more than one store. We're looking at different locations in Botswana. So the next plan, or the next 5 years, we'll have another branch or 2 around the country. And then for business development, we are looking at the solar project that we're getting into now. We're looking at actually becoming players in the industry, energy. We'll be supplying people with energy. For the next 5-10 years, we'll be establishing ourselves as a solar energy market player. We are also in the development and acquisition of property. So we are also getting into the acquisition of companies as well. We be buying companies from, different criterias of companies. We'll be looking at which kind of companies we'll be buying into. We are in the beginning of that. So in the next 10 years, we'll have a bunch of companies that hopefully one of them or 2 of them will be what we call a unicorn. Unicorn is a company that is worth more than $1 billion. So that is the plan for the next 10 years. And then for myself in martial arts, I'm looking at opening a dojo for the youth, for the young kids coming up. I want to have an opportunity to give them the chance to become the next Conor McGregor. Who knows? The next, Khabib. We want to have the opportunity for them to grow up.
As my personal favorite, the reality bender, what's it called? What's that? Style bender.
Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
Who knows? We could have the next one here. We have some people who could develop those talents.
Style bender. I like that guy.
Yes, and also what I've learned in China and other places, for just livelihood, the meditation can also help to increase people's lifespan as well. So I want people to be able to learn those things.
During that period. Okay. This is a part of the show when you get to ask me a question, sir.
Wow, I never really... I know sometimes when I want to ask you a question, I just pick up the phone and just call you. But I don't know what I can ask you right now. I could probably just say, I don't know. What can I probably ask you? Any plans for this year? And
we just want to double up. We want to continue growing. What you shared, we want to continue and actually make sure that we're really growing collectively as a family.
Yes,
that's the main plan, and also to give back to Botswana. And now that we have a new government, and then to hopefully get beyond some of the challenges we had in the previous setup, and then get somewhere. So that is the hope. that we can't just change a government and not have meaningful change on the ground. Let there be meaningful change on the ground so that entrepreneurs can thrive. So I want to see us thriving as entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But as we conclude our conversation, you look at that mic.
The camera.
I meant to say camera. And leave them with a message, a powerful message, something uplifting. Go ahead.
Hey. Word of the day, guys. Basically, just have a good heart. Bula pelo ya gago, Modimo a tla tsena mo teng. And I'd just like to say peace and love. Peace stands for positive energy, activates constant elevation. That's the only way.
Say that again.
Positive energy activates constant elevation.
Yes.
Peace. So peace be with you and everybody. I love you all. Take care. Until next time.
How do people get in touch with the Pond, get in touch with Sekgele? People who want to interact with your business.
100%. You can reach me on Facebook. My Facebook username is Nepkeperura Tutankhamen. And also on...
It sounds like a pharaoh.
Yes, it is.
You took the name of a pharaoh.
I took the pharaoh's name.
Yeah.
And then on Instagram, Bampizza Enk Caesar. Sekgele Mogobe at Enk Caesar. The Pond Resturant online, the Pond, just the Pond on Facebook. On Twitter, it's the Pond Resturant BW. On LinkedIn, the Pond Resturant BW. And also, you can reach us on our email, thepondrestaurantbw@gmail.com. You can call us on 7451-2840. WhatsApp also is available anytime.
Okay. Thank you very much. You've done a good job.
Thank you, sir.
All right.